Welcome, Ben.
Hello,
Hey,
gentlemen.
there he
Good to be
is, the
here.
man of the hour. The man
Yes.
of the
I don't know
hour.
about
Well,
that.
Yes, you
we have
are.
Ben from Play Better Paintball. I was kind of just cruising through the Instagram and I came across his thread and I was all like, what is this? And so I go on there and I start watching in the videos that are on there. And then I go to his website and I start reading up on it. And I'm like, we got to have this guy on because he really wants to help us get better at playing and also be a little bit more physically fit. Because like I said, there's guys out there that are bigger and, could use some of this. Like me, I definitely could use this. So Ben, tell us all about this. What is this?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I do feel like I am not worthy to be in this conversation with the legend himself, Mr. Bud Orr. So it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to make your virtual acquaintance. But Play Better Paintball is basically what I hope to bring with me as I come back to paintball after taking a 18-year leave from it. I left in 2004. I literally lugged around that impulse and that ion from the early 2000s and said, I'm going to get back into paintball at some point. And my wife and I have moved a lot. And she was like, you're never doing it. And I was like, I am. And this was the year. And when I came back, I said, I wonder if anyone is offering workouts for paintball. And I didn't see anything in an immediate social media or online search. So I was like, obviously there's something missing here. Maybe some people are doing it, but I'm not seeing it. So there needs to be more presence for fitness in paintball. And that's what I've been doing since 2016 as a personal trainer. I actually have 3 coaching certifications. So strength and conditioning and CrossFit are actually my other 2. And then I have 2 nutrition certifications, both in sports nutrition and then nutrition coaching. So I have a lot of expertise and I've been applying them to kind of one-on-one clients who have kind of this similar, I'm not going to call them issues because weight is honestly not as big of an issue as a lot of people think it is. You can actually have a much healthier person who is medically overweight than a thin person. It all comes down to how much are you actually doing to take care of what's inside your gear, as you were talking about. This is the most important gear that we have on the paintball field, whether we recognize it or not. So I am here to help everyone take care of their gear. All sizes are welcome and encouraged to play the sport and take care of yourself. And size has little to do with it. But, I'll say it. The smaller you are, the less of a target you are. So for some people out there who are like, I'd like to be a smaller target, that is something I can definitely help you with.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Because
And-
I was talking to Bud earlier in the green. Well, we were both talking to him in the green room, and he talked about how the man still works out at his age at 2:00 in the morning, which puts myself and Dennis kind of to shame because it's like
To shame, absolutely.
Age really is more of a number than people give it credit for. We all, I'm almost 40. So Dennis, I can kind of relate to some of those feelings of like, it's called being 45. I'm like, yeah, I'm 37 now. And I've been feeling it since I was 27, as a matter of fact. No one would probably guess this, but I've had 2 back surgeons tell me that I need a spinal fusion because I had a herniated disc and degenerative disc disease in my mid-20s. This was before I became a fitness professional, so I didn't know what I was doing back then, but I worked out 5 days a week, and apparently I didn't do it very well. So just because you're active doesn't necessarily mean you're doing something good for your body, which was a big reason that I got steered in the direction of, okay, well, what is good exercise? And once I learned it, I was like, well, I want to help other people do this because everyone should have this set of skills to take care of their own body for the rest of their life.
Well, like Ryan was asking about sleep. So sleep is
sleep
also
apnea specifically, he was saying.
that is a workout, Ryan, because you're like, huh. Yeah. So
I can relate on
it makes you sweat.
I've got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So for the last few years, I've had a apnea of sorts.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And it's interesting you bring up the problems that you've had in the past with your back. I've had a very similar diagnosis. I've got bulging discs, and I was told, oh yeah, we're probably gonna have to do either discectomy or possibly, you know, a partial fusion and whatnot like that. And I don't know. I mean, at that point in my life, surgery was just a much bigger monster than, you know, I was willing to really take on. So I never did it. And I instead, you know, focused on other ways to heal my body. So I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on that since we have a very similar problem with that. But the other thing that I was really excited to hear you bring up is that, you know, you have a little bit of your background is in the nutrition as well. So I'd love to talk a little bit about, you know, how our bodies are metabolizing the food that we eat before we're stepping onto the field, and maybe some of the things that, you know, we should be looking at in order to not only maintain a good level of energy, but post tournament, post practice, what have you, things that'll help to kind of keep your body in balance.
Yeah. And those are great questions, and all things that I want to, you know, bring to the world of paintball. You know, the number one thing I think most people are interested in is, okay, well, how can I make what I do in the gym more effective for what I do on the paintball field? But I'm glad you're asking the question about, okay, well, what do we need to think about when we're drinking, you know, fluids at the field? Do we need to be drinking these Ghost energy drinks, or should it be more water and Gatorade, or something low sugar, high sugar? You know, those are all technically they're questions that actually have a little bit of a different answer depending on the person and the situation. So they do get a little bit complicated, but for the most part, they can be relatively simplified for the average person. So I'm happy to answer, you know, any specific question that you have about that.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Let's go ahead and start with energy drinks. What are your thoughts on, you know?
You have to go after the energy drink.
Well, I don't want to say anything that's gonna you know, speak poorly or reflect negatively on any sponsors of this show or anything. But
we sponsor them; they don't sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly.
We just love to talk about them.
But no, energy drinks, and I lump into this pre-workouts, anything that people take as a way to like give them the supposed, you know, energy edge while they're either working out or at the field. The number one ingredient in all of those that actually does something for you is caffeine. So any energy drink, any pre-workout, the big benefit you're going to get is taking caffeine, which you literally can just take a tablet. You can have a cup of coffee. So the biggest energy boost that you're going to get from any of those drinks is the caffeine. So if you want to pay, you know, $3 or $4 for a can, or $1 or $2 per serving of a pre-workout, you know, they definitely work. Things inside of them like beta alanine, taurine, a lot of these ingredients are vasodilators, so they will increase your blood flow, but caffeine actually does that also. So it's really hard to separate how much of the feeling do you have that's from the caffeine, how much of it is from one of these other ingredients. Beta alanine, for those who don't know, is the chemical that gives you the tingly sensation. If you've ever tried one of the pre-workouts, I don't know if Ghost has it in there, but if you've ever taken something and you're like, man, this is giving me so much energy, I feel the tingles. That's actually not energy. It's just the tingly feeling that it causes under your skin. So
yeah, I stopped. I tried that before the pre-workout, and I got the tingles in the giblets, and I was like, no, I'm done.
Some people like it, some people don't.
I don't like that feeling. It's like, no, I'm good. I'll just go into the gym, work out, and I'll be good. I don't need an extra boost to get me going. I do drink these, but I usually, like on a really hot day, I stay away from them because of the amount of caffeine that they do have. And I prefer to have like water. And if I'm going to have any caffeine, it'd be like a, you know, like a soda or something, or even coffee. So last tingly sensation.
Man, poor Lupe. Sorry to hear you had a stroke.
Oh my God, Lupe. So Ben, on your site, I saw that you have like 3 tier levels that people could go on and subscribe to, right?
Yeah, and this is actually a good time to bring in someone that I recently partnered with, Patty Gleason, who you might know, off the leash training, plays for the Seattle Thunder. He offers online coaching. So he's a personal trainer and a strength and conditioning coach, which is 2 of my certifications. And he does what I've been doing since 2018, which is online remote coaching, where we work one-on-one together. That's not actually what I want to do in paintball. So what I'm doing on my website is offering 3 different difficulty levels, levels of experience, basically. And it's not necessarily experience, just where you are with your body right now. You may be very experienced, but if you haven't really been regularly training for a year or more, you probably need to start at a beginner level. So I have kind of a beginner level program, an intermediate level program, and then an advanced program. So essentially an entire year of training where basically for less than $1 per workout, I think it comes out to more like $0.25 per workout. I have written from warm up to cool down an entire workout for you. So each one is 3 days a week. You don't have to do it 3 days a week, but it's there. So if you wanted to go 3 days a week, it's there for you. I don't recommend going more than that for the type of customer I'm looking to serve, because I predict you're playing paintball on the weekends. So depending on if you're going once or twice, 4 or 5 days of rigorous activity is plenty for most people. But yeah, there's basically a beginner program for people who come onto the field with a little bit of injury or some sort of health situation that holds them back from really unleashing on the field. And so this program puts you on machines and puts you through certain movements, guides you on what intensity to look at with the intent of rehabilitating your body. Now, that being said, it's not designed to be a custom program for your specific need, but with my expertise, I kind of blend in, okay, if someone has an ankle, a knee, a back, a hip, shoulder issue, I make sure that throughout each week of programming, something in there is designed to rehabilitate that joint. So by the time you're done with the beginner program, you should be ready to go to the intermediate, which is someone who goes onto the field with no reservations. They feel very healthy. They may not feel like an elite athlete, but they can go out and play as hard as they want to without feeling like they're going to break something, hurt themselves. So that's the intermediate level program. And by the end of that, you should feel like, okay, I'm ready for some intense training. My body feels really good. I am ready to go to the next level. That's what the advanced program is for. It's very high intensity, really designed to get you to where you're performing as well as any pro athlete out there on the paintball field. Not to be confused with paintball skill. Skill in paintball is a completely different thing. But as far as your physical ability goes, you should be able to run as fast as any of those players out there, move just as agile, just as quickly as anybody else on that pro field. After that, that's when I say, time to go to Patty Gleason and get you a custom program, because to go to the next level after that, you need something that's written for you specifically.
Well, like right now, like on the screen, you can see that Ryan asked, how's the training for paintball different from like a regular workout? It's a good question.
Yeah, very good question. And I've actually written this out, all the positions that paintball tends to lend itself to. And one good example is how much time we spent leaning to one side. And if you look at any training program out there on the internet that you can get for less than $100, you're probably not going to see too many exercises that help you train the muscles that help you bend over side to side, much less holding that position. Some workouts might say, okay, let's do some side bends, go down and up, but not too many programs are written with the intent of you hanging out in this bent over position for extended periods of time. That is pretty stressful on the spine, especially when you consider the fact that you are also holding roughly 10 pounds in your hands while doing that, which adds more leverage pressure to the lower back. So my programs take that into account, that we need to make sure that we are holding certain exercises that make those muscles develop endurance and stamina, so that when you're leaning for long periods of time, holding that lane, watching for someone to make a move, that your back is able to hold up to that, and it's not going to punish you for a few days after you are done playing.
Yeah.
And
not to mention
our other guest, our other guest who was at Decay of Nations was saying he didn't know he was going to be doing crunches while he was out in the field.
Yeah. And Ben, you bring up a real good point in that, being able to hold that position for, extended periods of time, not only with that marker in your hand, but then for players like myself, I usually play back corner. Depending on how much paint you've got on your lower back, that can also add into, the strain that you may be putting on your body.
For sure. And that weight actually sits pretty conveniently on your hips for the most part. So the weight in the pack is not so much an issue. And actually, that pack gives you some good bracing around the lower back.
Well,
But
assuming you're using a good pack.
assuming you're using a good pack. Yeah, good point. But running or moving with that resistance on you, definitely energy wise, puts a big drain on you. You know, you might be able to, without weight, run just fine to a bunker, but when you put 5 to 10 pods on your back, all of a sudden you feel a lot more sluggish when you're moving. And so that's where actually stamina and endurance comes a little bit more important than worrying about the weight that's on your back.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're talking about, oh, sorry, go ahead, Dennis. Before.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So some of these workouts that you've kind of come up with, would you say that they're very core oriented?
I would say they definitely take into account everything a paintball player should when it comes to the core. So I take into account that in paintball, even if you play back, there's a good chance at some point while you're playing, you're going to need to get on all hands in the quadruped position where you're supporting yourself on your knees and your hands, and then the prone position where you're actually like crawling or even laying on your belly. So I have a spreadsheet written out with the prone movement, the quadruped, kneeling, half kneeling, standing, side bending. I have every single position and movement that we do in paintball, and I make sure every single week of workouts we have an exercise that trains that specific position or movement.
So that's amazing. That's
amazing. So we don't really do squats necessarily because squats is very good for knee health and honestly just overall anatomical health. It's one of the basic human movements, so our joints should be able to do that. But when it comes to paintball, we rarely are standing with our feet right under our shoulders. We're almost always staggered stance. So the squat variations that we do are actually more paintball specific, where we're doing things where our body's angled a little bit differently, like we would be on the field.
That's cool. This is like, yeah, I was about to just click on to get your workout because I was like, I'm just going to get it because why not? Let me see what it does. But now I really want to get it because I could definitely.
Oh, I mean, are you kidding me? I'd love to actually get down and dirty with that. I think that would do me some wonders. Absolutely.
Well, I've got a secret page on the website for anyone that uses my business card when I hand it out at the field. There's a secret page that it takes you to where you can get an entire month of workouts for free. So I got your email. I'll forward you the link to that page so you can just say, hey, I would like to try this one. And if you're like, yeah, this one's too easy or too hard, I'll send you the other one. That way you can find which one works best for you.
Awesome. That's wow. Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
now, I feel like we need to hear from Bud, because getting up at 2:00 in the morning and going to the gym, as Eugene said, I mean that outpaces us right now. So what is your workout like right now, Bud?
It's I do like 5 days a week and sometimes 4, and I alternate, and I do the thing I do for paintball is stretching. Before the games and also before I work out too. Depends on what workout and what you're saying about your core and what the muscles that you're using. I agree 100%. I mean, I went to a doctor 6 months ago and I filled out that 100 questions and went in to see him and he asked me, well, how many times you been operated on? I said, never.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said, well, how many times you been in a hospital? I said, never. And he said, well, what happens when when you get cut? I says, I sew myself up. And he looked at me and he looked at my wife and he said, what does he do? She says, everything, And he looked at me and says, you're difficult. I said, well, thank you very much, But no, you got to take care of your body. And what Ben's saying is, I mean, he is dead on what you need to do. I mean, and it doesn't take a big effort. I go at 2 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the morning, because I got a family there, and that helps you through the workouts and stuff. And motivation, I should say, motivation.
Well, Bud, you definitely are. You're motivating me, along with Ben, also motivating me to actually get out there. I'm not going to get out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I have to now. I'm going to have to carve out the time to do it, because, yeah, I've been feeling myself. I've been feeling sluggish, and it's not because of these. I don't drink these that often. Usually, it's mainly for the show, and on my way home, and my way to work, and But I don't drink them that often.
When you start working out, it's a totally different feeling in your body. Yeah. I mean, really, honestly, and you don't need energy drinks. I never drank them. I drink 1 cup of coffee a day, and I'm the type of person that really studies your body, and I like, and your body's going to tell you what it needs if you listen. And Ben will tell you how to listen. I mean, and that's the biggest problem that people have. They don't listen to their body.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
I mean, and Ben,
absolutely.
My hat's off to you, brother. I mean,
Thanks,
you're needed in this sport big time. Yoga's pretty good too. That's good for your
I actually have some
stretches.
yoga moves in the program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No,
all right, so let us get that website for you so we can move on to our next segment, because since we're talking about so much tournament stuff and paintball, we want to bring in our final guest to come on to the show. But let's hear about that website, Ben, which I have it right here.
Yeah,
you got it.
We've got people in the chat asking what your website is. Yeah,
that's it. Playbetterpaintball.com.
And where else can they find you, or how else? What's the other stuff as far as your Instagram?
It's pretty consistent for the most part. It's Play Better Paintball on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Someone apparently uses it, so I go by Paintball Coach on Twitter.
Okay.
Oh, so he's kind of like us, Dennis. He's got a theme running through all his
exactly.
Exactly.
So it's pretty easy to remember that. You guys definitely check him out. Like I said, when I checked out his Instagram alone, that's what got me interested in doing this and bringing him on. And after hearing this, I definitely want to try it out and then see how far I'm going to go. I'm going to push myself. But you're my inspiration. I'm going to push myself.
The most important thing is manage your expectations. Start small. Don't try to say, I'm going to go all 3 days a week. Start with just let me make it once each week.
One
and
day,
even if that doesn't work out, say, okay, once every 2 weeks. Just find where you can be consistent and then build from there carefully.
Well, Bud, you can hold me to it, though.
Oh, yeah. I will.
At 2 in the morning, calling you up.
Yeah, 2 in the morning. Great.
Exactly, 2 in the morning.
And Ben, thank you, Ben, for your information. It's outstanding. So.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. So hold on, you guys. We're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to bring in our next guest that will go along with Tourney Talk. But for right now, this has been